Okay, so I added a little Bondo to fill in the pinholes on the collar, and I had a little bit more gap in here than what I wanted. There's still supposed to be like a definite separation between the neck, collar, and the actual back piece. So I took like a triangular file and carved back into that just to give a definition of that. Whenever I use Bondo, you know, it's always just a filler for cosmetic reasons. Your glue is obviously what's going to hold the parts together, and the Bondo is literally just a filler. But it's also porous, and when it comes time to do your primer and then your paint, the Bondo will actually absorb a lot of the primer and paint. So what I like to do is use Zap-A-Gap as a sealer. So I get some paper towels, I just fold that, get those prepped, and I'm just going to take some CA glue and put some along here, and then take the paper towel and wipe that. Now it's important that I get that edge back, because CA glue is not easy to sand. It does become rock hard when it once it completely cures. I got some on my glove, but so this stuff is crazy fast dry time. I think the bleach and these paper towels causes it to cure faster. So you might want to work in smaller amounts if you're not used to working with this. So I'm going to add a little on here and wipe that down. That just kind of puts like a clear coat on that, and like I said, it seals. So I use that on the armor as well. Any parts that need the Bondo, I'll seal it with the CA glue. You can see the Bondo change color. It kind of gets a little bit darker. And I don't use any kicker. I just let it sit and cure, because if you use a kicker on this, it crystallizes and bubbles up. So if you just do this, then it'll stay smooth. Just let it cure over time, just let it sit. And then go back after a few hours with like your medium sanding sponge to prep it when you sand all of your armor, to prep it for the primer. And you're good. Hopefully you can kind of see how the light just reflecting here where it's a little bit shinier where the CA is on top of the Bondo. So it just creates a nice hard shell, seals in all the pores, so then it paints better that way. So that's a trick I like to do, and I just thought maybe I'd share that with you. And make sure you wear gloves. Like I said, it's some dangerous stuff. So that's the medium Zap-A-Gap CA glue. Okay, so I get a few people ask me about this strange piece and the curvature on this, and they ask, where does it go? It's going to go on the back. After you've glued this detail piece on and you've filed this out so it's all smooth and lines up nice with the back, then you're going to sand along this edge with sandpaper or Dremel or whatever you prefer, and then also inside this edge. And that's because this is going to go like that and glue right there, and it just pushes down and glues in place. So that swoop, so it kind of contours with your back when you're wearing the piece. So you can either put glue in here and go over there, or put glue around there, push it down, whatever you feel comfortable doing. I'm probably going to put some right on the top edge here. That way it just kind of rolls down as I push the piece on. And then make sure you got it in the right direction, like this. And that pushes down there. Just like that. And then I like using Q-tips to clean up any of the glue overage. That also works really well to get down in between there. I'll probably add just a bit. Oh, my glue bottle's almost running out. Add a little bit there. Add a little bit right down there. And again, smooth that out. Alright, and then I'm going to kick this so it stays in place. And that's it. So that's what that piece is for. So when you look here, it's got a back piece to it. So these are not going to glue in until after I've painted this, because they're two-tone. They've got the white and the black. And so that's another assembly in itself. But this piece can go ahead and get glued in because this is all going to get painted together. But it's very important that you glue that in the right direction, and you know, Dremel or sand the inside of this and the outside of that so it fits on. It's a really snug fit, and that's what that should look like. Okay, so here's another little detail that I'm going to add for the Tanktrooper, and the Shore Trooper has this. I have an extra little piece of plastic that I used. It's just a real thin cut strip. So I'm just going to cut the first end off nice and straight. Then just kind of gauge what I've penciled here to. I'm going to make 4 of those. Okay. So like I said, it's just a really small detail. Just use some little tweezers, and basically I'm going to put some CA glue, and I'm just going to drop it right on that inner ridge right there. So actually what I'm going to do, just make a puddle of CA glue. Oh yeah, this one was running out. Forgot to add more. Let's see. Yeah, that one's out. Let's see here. All right, there we go. Just dipping that in the glue just a tiny bit. Just putting it right on the edge. It's not easy to look, sorry, go. All right, so yeah, it's just a little tiny detail. You know, when I sand, most of that might get, I'll put a little kicker just to make sure it doesn't slide anywhere. So how I determined that was, so the Tanktrooper, this area is white, this area is black. Shore Trooper, it's black or lightly brown, depending on which one you're doing. I'm not ready to push this all the way down in here yet, but basically that'll go in there, and then this piece, you know, is what gets glued in right back there. Let's see if I got a pencil. So if that was going to fit right there, this first one is pretty much on center with this, and then this one is, this edge is center with the gap, leaving this just a little shy of this one. So that's kind of the alignment. That edge, center, this one, the center is almost on center. It's kind of that way a little bit. Hopefully I did that right on this side as well. That where it's supposed to go. So yeah, so it's just about on center here, a little more this way, and then this one, that's on center there, a little more that way. So this is just another little added detail. It's like a little notch piece that the Shore Trooper and Tank Trooper has. And then also this little bit here, I'm going to take my Dremel wheel and just notch that out a little more. Not cut it all the way through, but just grind into that so it's a little more defined. So we'll do that now. There you go. So like that, and then that's just another rectangle area that will get some weathering. Those get painted. So that's pretty much the detail for this. I'm just going to finish sanding the whole thing with it's kind of a worn out medium grit sanding sponge, getting rid of all the shine, just kind of making it dull. That way I know that the primer will bite into the plastic and make a good bond. And then that will be ready for the next step to do the actual painting. So it's just really the prep work right now of sanding.